Hello and welcome to Streetwise Economics, our weekly podcast where we talk about the markets, money, and how to build wealth. And today we are going to talk about the market updates, what's happening in the markets, US markets mostly, and then we'll talk about Nvidia earnings, what we think, and also some news of stocks like Tesla, Google, MSTR stock. And then like we said last week, we are looking forward to discussing about the crypto. It's almost towards the 100,000 mark, so I'm excited. We're excited about that. And we will talk about the economic data that was released in the US for this week and next week and what that would we think it means for the market. So allow me to welcome my colleague here, Blooming. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, buddy. Always excited to be here.
Fantastic. So today we want to talk about what we see the markets, but we will just share this chart with you so that at least you can have a picture of what we are talking about. Generally, as you can see, each time that I see the green, it means the market has gone up. So the major indices such as the Dow Jones, Nasdaq, S&P 500, they are in the green, but still gold is also up 1.48%, as you can see. The VIX, like we have observed, is that it is down today about 6%, and Nvidia is down. It's one of those big stocks that are actually down, but we think this is health, and we will talk more about their earnings and what we think about that. Tesla is always, it's a green island that is surrounded by, in this case, the market is green. So this is exciting. And you can see here as well that even big tech stocks like Apple, they are up. So mostly I think this is what is driving the market up. Some ETFs that are related to cryptocurrencies like this one, CONL is up. So this is very interesting. The bond ETF is actually up. So what do you see in the market, buddy? What do you think? Why do you think the market is green today?
So here's my take on this. We're going, as I said before in the previous commentaries, I'm expecting a strong wrap up for 2024 and leading into 2025. Given that the economy has been shaky before, but since we got, the new administration that will be coming in early January,
Yes,
investors are just optimistic about this. And also, I think was it not last week or 2 weeks ago when Jerome Powell cut interest rate?
yes,
These are tailwind catalysts that are going to propel the market towards the upward north. In as much as we can really tell the direction of the market in the short term, but overall, I just see that investors are just optimistic
yes,
about the economy. We are seeing that because especially when we've been getting a couple of interest rate cuts,
yes,
investors, we tend to take on more risks or literally buying more risks on asset
yes.
when interest rate is being cut. And I just feel like we're just excited that our portfolios are just growing. So I think that's one of the things that, yes, that we're just seeing in the market. And even apart from that, the new administration, meaning in the US,
Yes,
they are being led by people that have led businesses before. So
yes,
when a capitalist is in leadership, right? They understand numbers, they understand how to run a business. You
yes,
can see those tailwind effects across the economy. It doesn't mean that all the whole sector of the economy is going to do fantastic, but you
yes.
just know that overall, if you know how to play this money game well,
Yeah.
yes, you're going to be happy that it's being led by pro-business leaders.
Thank you so much, my colleague. And for those also who haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and to also share our respective websites so that if you want one-on-one coaching about what to look for and how to invest in the markets, we can share that on the comments and on this podcast episode as well. Now, in terms of the earnings that were released this week, the big companies like Walmart, Nvidia was the one that everyone was kind of like looking at it like, is it gonna save or spook the market. And indeed, it delivered in terms of the numbers, right? But there are still a lot of risks that people potentially see, to say, in as much as they have untapped demand, unmet demand until I think 2026, right? There are some risks, but still fundamentally the stock is very strong. What do you think? What's your take about that? Because also today Nvidia is trading at this level.
Mhm. So here is my take on this. I just believe that the market has such a high expectation
Yeah.
for Nvidia that no matter the numbers that Nvidia delivers,
Yes.
investors are still going to feel like, oh, you should have done more than this. Remember that Nvidia has been one of the best performing stocks earlier this year when it was just going to the moon.
Yes.
And it's just what happens in the market when
Yes.
expectation is just so unrealistic,
Yes.
even when you deliver a fantastic quarter. Meaning that, for example, we saw for Nvidia, I think revenue was up about 94%.
Yes.
The bottom line profit was also, I think, doubled. But
Yes.
yet that was not even enough for for
Yes.
investors. These are great numbers. So
Yes.
for me, I just feel like there is no reason to be bearish on Nvidia because why? This is a long-term play.
Yes.
And I just feel like there's this unrealistic expectation for Nvidia,
Yes.
and whatever supply chain issue that is just going on is just temporary. Because right now, because I did listen to the earnings call, based
Yes.
on the call, Jensen was still like, oh, we have more demand that we can even fulfill. So you
Yes.
should be excited as an investor that they can't even fulfill all of that, but the expectation is just unrealistic. So that's just my take on this.
And that's something that I actually learned in economics, that, there are expectations and the reality. And each time there is a variance or a difference between what the market, traders, investors, or even institutional investors expect, whether it's
Mhm.
positive or negative, it's something that's gonna potentially cause some volatility. So that's what happens. So in this case, when after they reported the earnings, the stock was very volatile. I remember I was watching it on a 1 minute basis. It dropped to almost from 140, above 140 to 131, but it
Mhm.
recovered, right? And when the market opened yesterday, I believe it went up to
150.
152. So it
Yes.
did that. Maybe let me just share that in terms of the charting. Today, if I look at today, it's down, right? But if I look at 5 days, you can see this was when it was kind of like, aftermarket. But the thing
Yes.
is, it has pulled back a little bit. But if I look at the year to date, still, it has gone up by
Yeah.
almost 200%,
Almost 200%.
right? So it's just a normal pullback in my view.
Yes.
And as an investor, when I have a good average, if it pulls back a stock like that, and this is not investment advice, like we always say,
Mhm.
if I have a long-term position and I'm looking to hold the stock for 5, 10 years, that's an opportunity for me to buy if it pulls, if it retraces. I always want to buy on pullbacks, like we have said here. But moving on, Google is also facing
Mhm.
some news that has been kind of like causing the stock to be depressed at around that level. It is, I think, about around 175 dollars. But the thing is, what do you think about that? Because they say the Department of Justice is investigating or is considering a court case to break uh, an antitrust law because they think that is too powerful. So maybe there might be potential risks to the stock, maybe downside risks in that case. But what do you think about that?
So again, none of what we say here is investment or financial advice, but the DOJ is saying that they want to break Google from Chrome, which is just the search or the browser,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Again, none of us know the implications of this,
yes,
but in the grand scheme of things, I want to believe that Google has a lot of solid lawyers that
yes,
can drag out this case for several years.
yes,
So In terms of what is going to be the outcome of this, I truly don't know. But if you believe that fundamentally this is a strong company that is not going to go out of business in the next 1, 2, or 3 or 5 years,
Yes.
then maybe this might be an opportunity to just add to your portfolio. But again, I don't see this as
Yeah.
maybe something so big that Google cannot handle. That's my own personal opinion.
Yes.
Because every time a company gets too big, there's always this risk and this, we're going to break this up. The same thing for Meta. We're going to
Yes.
break this up. I mean, there's
Microsoft.
always something. Microsoft, we're going to break this up. So,
Yes.
but these people, they are great capitalists and they have great lawyers that
Yes.
can drag this thing out for several decades. So again,
Yes.
I'm not bothered about this. While
Yes.
this is not investing advice, if you fundamentally believe that this is a strong company,
Yeah.
then maybe this is just a good time to just add to your position. So that's my
And
take on this.
wonderful. And you can see here, in terms of the cash and cash equivalent, they have 93 billion on their balance sheet. And if I
Yeah,
look at the long-term debt, this is something that I quickly do. Long-term debt, they have only 10, 11 billion. So they can easily pay off the
pay
debt
this off. Yes,
and still remain with cash. If I was to go a step further and look at the free cash flows, this is the common sense test. It's a
yeah,
monster in terms of cash flows. They have
yep,
56 billion that they are generating. So now, if I am to look at other, what analysts, people who spend time trying to analyze this stock, the lowest is saying Google
it's
maybe
165.
165, but the average is 206. What does this mean? This stock is undervalued.
Yep,
So, okay, you do what you can, what you like with the information. This is not investment advice. But
right.
now, moving on, in the crypto space, there's a lot that is happening, and you are more knowledgeable in this space than me. What's happening to the crypto space and MSTR stock? There's been a lot of news about,
Yes,
space.
yes. So just this week alone, which has been very, very exciting before I show you any chart. Number
Yes.
one, Bitcoin reached another all-time high. I think it got to almost last night. I was literally still awake, thinking maybe it was going to cross $100,000. I had a post already that once this hit $100,000, I'm just going to click on share. Like, but that did not happen. So I think we got stuck
Yes.
around maybe 98 or $99,000,
Yes.
but we're closer to $100,000 than we've been before, right? So this is very, very exciting, meaning that crypto is a new asset class that has come to stay, and I'm very, very bullish about this. Number two, we've seen MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy keeps buying more Bitcoin. What is MicroStrategy? I think I was sharing a few weeks ago to a group of people that when you consider the moats that MicroStrategy has, it has zero moats, zero. Like as a business, no
Yes.
moat. There is technical, I mean, anybody can replicate what MicroStrategy does as a business. But the moment MicroStrategy started pivoting towards Bitcoin, meaning adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, that has been a game changer for MicroStrategy. I'm not saying that you should go and buy MicroStrategy. I don't own it, but it's one of the easiest ways to get exposure to crypto. Again, we are entering into a bull cycle, meaning that a lot of coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, a lot of meme coins, they're going to go up, especially now that we have a new administration in the US that is pro Bitcoin, that is pro crypto. Again, this is not investment advice. I just like to study the trend and see how I can allocate capital. Number three, I think even this week we saw, I'm going to quickly just share a chart because that will bring everything into perspective. So, as I was sharing before, that this week that Bitcoin got as high as 99,502. I was hoping that this was going to cross 100,000, but it did not. But I'm hoping maybe in the next few days, or it might happen today, nobody can tell. So,
Yes.
and again, MicroStrategy, they keep raising money to buy Bitcoin. Again, I will be very cautious here because anytime Bitcoin is going up, Yes, we see that MicroStrategy, the stock too is going to be performing well. But it's important to know as a smart investor when the tide changes, meaning that maybe after the end of 2025, we're exiting the bull run. It's important to know how you're going to exit your positions. Because again, Bitcoin or crypto, we go through these 4-year cycles, and the winter season can be very, very brutal. So this was one of the major crypto exchanges that collapsed. And one asset, meaning their Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, any crypto on this crypto exchange, it was hard for them to just withdraw their money. What do I mean? Anytime you buy crypto, always ensure that you move it to your own personal hardware wallet. That is a smart thing to do. If you don't know what a hardware wallet is, just Google it. You can go on my YouTube channel. You can go on my Facebook page. I have all this information there. It's
Or they
always
can
good.
come to consult you.
Yeah, just reach out.
Website.
Yeah,
Yes.
because a lot of people, it's important to know how to make money in this crypto bull run, but also how to keep it. Because a lot of people are going to lose their investment, this crypto bull run, because of silly mistakes. And I'm saying that it's exciting when Bitcoin is over 100,000, over 120,000, and it keeps mooning. Ethereum goes to maybe 5,000, 10,000. It's exciting. But the smart investor would ensure that you're able to preserve your wealth over time. And I've seen a lot of people that make this mistake. They leave their crypto on a crypto exchange thinking that it is safe. No, it is not safe. It's always important to move your own crypto to your own personal cold hardware wallet and not just a hot wallet. The other thing that I also wanted to say is that given that this new administration is pro crypto, a smart investor will allocate some of their wealth into this digital space because why? We're not going back to the Stone Age. So, in as much as yes, we talk about the stock market, which is exciting, I would always still say that allocate some portion of your wealth into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into Solana, into whatever meme coins that you want to do. I was about to share one of the chart of, I think FTX, one of the chief technology officer or something like that,
Yes.
Gary Wang, that again he's going to be forfeiting $11 billion in digital asset. He avoided what's it called pre-freezing time because of the work that he was able to do to help them just find out more about all the frauds going on in crypto. But a lot of people will look at this news and get discouraged. Oh, if this person or FTS collapsed, then people lo lost their money. That is just noise. Again, it's important to allocate some portion of your wealth into crypto because this is how we make our money work for us. In this crypto bull run, yes, 2025, I expect it to be very exciting. People are going to make boatload of money, but it's also important to know how to exit. Meaning that when do you exit your position? Because as I said before, the winter or the bear season is coming and it's important to position ourselves. So what am I doing personally? Yes, I'm still averaging into my personal positions, but even apart from that, I have a strategy of okay, maybe when Solana gets to maybe 700, 800, 8,000, I need to start taking profit. Because if you don't learn how to take profit in this bull cycle, you might be left holding the empty bag and you don't want to be the exit liquidity for a lot of the new investors. So again, you want to make sure that you know when you're buying and also when you're going to sell because yes, it's exciting, but this is not going to be forever. So that's my take on crypto this week. It's exciting. And if you have any question, you can always reach out. Crypto is a new um digital asset. It's a technology, it's a protocol that has come to stay. And I'm very excited about this bullish season that we're literally going into.
So my
So,
buddy and I, we always like to tease each other. In this case, I am someone who likes to poke into some holes into her
yes.
pieces. So the risks that I see in crypto, by the way, I have a very small allocation of crypto because I don't understand it much. I'm big on equities and other
Mm-hmm.
assets. It's very important to manage your risk. And we have said it again and we'll say it again here. This is not investment advice. Where there
Yes.
is profit, there's also a possibility of loss.
Losses.
Usually, when there is a bull run like that, and if it pulls back, a lot of people may panic and lose money. So, what am I doing? I allocate a very small percentage, even less than 3% of our net worth, right? To say maybe if it goes up, it might have an outsized return.
Return, yes.
Me, I also like to hedge my portfolio, like we have said, because the market, equities market, does not always go up in a straight line. It goes up. Sometimes it can even drop, in a correction, be a territory 40, 50, 60 or so percent. So the question is, if that was to happen today, were you going to sleep at night? Is your portfolio going to withstand that? So what some people do, they do options, but you really need to be knowledgeable to buy put options, kind of like as an insurance, to say if it drops, you can possibly mitigate the downside. I do invest ETFs to say if the market drops, the equities market, usually like we have shown, the VIX, usually it goes up. So whether if it is 5% of the portfolio, and if it goes up by 50 or 100%, it can then help the standard deviation in terms of like the performance of our portfolio, because my portfolio would not fall as much because all the equities, the stocks, if they drop and maybe 5% of that portfolio goes up by 50%, then the average would be higher than the drop in the equities market. So what am I saying in this? You really have to be very careful whenever you are investing your money. Do due diligence. Blooming and I, that's what we do. We coach people to understand how to value companies, how to invest in businesses, right? For example, Target, it dropped by almost over, I think, 25% when they missed their earnings guidance,
Yes.
right? On their
Yep.
this week, it
Yep.
dropped, but it has already recovered, right? And I have a small position on that I must disclose. But the thing is, at the end of the day, it's very important to understand the business first. That means you have to understand their financial situation, who is leading that, what are the analysts doing, like thinking in terms of the target. These people, they spend time, but I also want to take a conservative approach, and I do my own analysis. So I just wanted to emphasize that now, before we come to a wrap, we also want to just share some economic data that was released, because the market moves. Sometimes it's volatile depending on what's happening in the market, right? In the data or the economy. So you see that this week there was an expansion in the S&P Global Services. What does this mean? It means the services sector, it expanded in the US. So it means the economy is very strong, it's very robust. But initial jobless claims, they are lower, right? The previous was 219. So there were less people who filed for unemployment. It means more people are at work. But the Philadelphia Fed manufacturing, this is a very interesting index. It dropped by -5%. So the US, it has quite a number of states, right? So some states may be in particular months or weeks, their sectors, business sectors might grow or contract. But in terms of the aggregate, right, the whole economy, in my view, this is what the numbers say, right? It's the service sector it expanded, but this manufacturing sector, it contracted, because if the reading is less than 50.0, then it shows that there's a contraction. Did you want to make a comment there, or maybe I can just finish? For next week, these are the data points that's gonna potentially move the market. Is there something that is really gonna be big here? I think there's gonna be some news in China, but we are big on the US. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing as an investor is to have a hedged portfolio, but to realize that nobody can confidently predict the market in the short term, because a lot of things can happen. So you want to manage your risk properly in terms of your portfolio design. So that's what I can say. Coach, do you want to add on that?
So as we wrap to this session, I just want to again really emphasize the need to play in crypto. I'm going to say that again. There is always the need to play in crypto as a smart investor. Because when you look at what the big money managers are doing, you just need to understand the times and the season. For example, this week we saw that Brad Gatzner, he literally exited his Uber positions and he started buying Tesla. I mean, he's been buying Tesla when Ron Baron said earlier this year that Tesla had bottom around that 140s, right? What I'm trying to draw your attention to is number one, when there is a disruptive technology, a lot of people don't tend to see it. Uber has been operating, which is fantastic, but there's a disruptive technology called Tesla that a lot of people are not seeing.
Robotaxis.
Yes. Number two, we've been talking about the financial system, maybe banks, but there is a new thing called crypto that is disruptive that a lot of people don't understand the impact yet. But what am I trying to say? Anytime a new technology comes into the space that makes our life easier, better, stress-free, we humans, we naturally gravitate towards it. Think of the iPhone. We used to use Motorola. Look at Blockbuster. Now we just Netflix. We have a lot of examples like that. That again, it's important to play in crypto. This is how we, the rich, make our money work for us effortlessly. I'm not saying that there is no risks involved. This is where you learn. Reach out to Isaac, reach out to me. This is what we talk about literally every day, educating people on how to play this money game and also win. So again, I'm very excited about 2024 and even leading into 2025. I'm really, really hoping that a lot of people would just learn to play this money game because why? Once you understand how to play this game, it's just a beautiful sport. It's a beautiful sport because you can literally look at your money and your money is working so hard for you. But a lot of people spend time saying, oh, I want to get this job, this promotion. Yeah, I mean, you can get increments, but you can get exponential growth. So in as I wrap up this, I'm just saying I'm very excited about what the future brings. I'm very excited that we're going into a very bullish season. But in as much as that, it's important to learn before you invest. And as always, may the market be in our favor.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to also subscribe to Blooming's channel. I will put it down there so that she talks a lot about crypto, about the stock market. She's wonderful. She's also an excellent coach. I learned so much from her. And as Blooming has already said, trade and invest wisely and may the markets be on your side. See you next week. Thank you. Bye.